My name is Bill Sparks. I'm the director of the forensics team here at Cerritos College. I've been a member of the full-time speech communication department for the last 11 years. This year, our team took 11th place at the California Community College State Championships. We took 12 students. 7 came back with awards, and 3 of those 7 came back with 2 awards. Tonight is our night to celebrate, show family, friends, and school members what we do during the year with some excellent speech and with some reader standard competition. And our feature tonight is a debate against 2 very intelligent, beautiful students from the mainland China area. We'll be introducing them later. Let me welcome some dignitaries that slipped in right at the last minute. But we certainly have a very good support in the school from our board members and from the student services area. If you'll stand for a round of applause, we have Bob Ethel and his daughter Nikki. Nikki's pretty shy. Actually, about 4 or 5 years ago, she was on our squad and actually had some fun time competing for us. We have Mr. Stephen Johnson. He's the Vice President over Student Services. Actually, Holly is the Director of Student Services. I won't let her live that down. We had the meeting with all the advisors, and I think the students that I've been working with the past year, 11 years, would say that Holly has been one super addition, and I think all the students love her. She does such a great job. We also have from the board, Bob Hewlett. And we have Tom Jackson and his wife, Marie. Now, if I didn't introduce Holly's boss correctly, let me introduce the real person who runs the student services, and that's Trudy. Okay, we're going to jump into the program. We apologize for being a little bit late, but we're going to introduce different competitive speech events that students do, and the students who have won multiple trophies during the year in those events. The first event we'd like to demonstrate tonight is called Extemporaneous speaking. This is a 7-minute maximum time speech, and the students who do this event try to hit their speech right on the 7 minutes. Now, for those of you that have ever had speech classes, we give assignments, we give you 2 or 3 weeks to research, to do your speeches. This student has had 30 minutes. She was given 3 current event questions. She's allowed to research magazine articles, newspaper articles, and in those 30 minutes, she's allowed to use 1 note card to refer to. So we're going to introduce our first student tonight is Karla Marquez.
When we start a new semester, we always get a syllabus. We start off with an outline that explains what we need to do to succeed in class, whether it means how many homework assignments you have to turn in or what grades you have to get in your test. They tell you exactly what you need to do. This is basically the same thing that the United Nations has done by setting out methods for different cities and different countries to develop their nuclear programs. And in the question of what should the United States position on Iran be, the answer is simple. We should allow them to have their nuclear program because their nuclear program is not going to be used for weapons. It's simply going to be used for energy. So first we're going to look at the first area of analysis, which is the background. Secondly, we're going to show why it is good for Iran to have its own nuclear program. And thirdly, we're going to demonstrate how there is a sense of that the nuclear power program can be important for Iran. So in the background, we've seen that President Ahmadinejad has actually explained that they're going to be using this nuclear program for energy. It is very expensive to use oil, to continue to use oil as some countries have discovered, such as Russia, China, and the United States. The nuclear program has proven that developing the right technology, that it can be much more effective and cleaner. So for that reason, Iran has decided Hans Blix, the former UN Chief Weapons Inspector, stated in the Associated Press article on April 3rd that they're not going to be developing nuclear programs because they don't have the technology right now. And to develop that program would even take 5 years, and by then we would be able to understand where they're going with this program. So we can see that it is important for Iran to be able to develop this program. They can use the nuclear power to help their country develop without having to resort to going to other countries and getting oil or getting other natural resources. However, there's been an outcry from members of the international community stating that Iran should not have this power. And some of these issues have come down to basically a double standard. According to the Associated Press from April 2nd, the President Ahmadinejad stated that they would be following the IAEA, which stands for the International Atomic Energy Agency. They would follow their standards for developing nuclear programs. And these standards include from having to allow for inspectors to come into the country and look at all their nuclear power plants, and also being able to report back to the United Nations what they're developing. So we can see that they would follow these standards. Basically, kind of like how we as students follow our own syllabus, they would be following the syllabus of the United Nations. But there is a double standard. And as reported by the North Country Times on April 3rd, the United States has actually allowed India to start developing programs themselves. However, they're not developing for nuclear power, they're developing it for weapons. And the United States has stated that it wants to pass the program in order for India to develop these weapons. Now, some of us may think, well, they might need it because Pakistan and India are actually in conflict. However, when we allow some countries to develop weapons, and we don't allow other countries to develop for their own economic purposes to be able to develop better power energy sources, we can see that that's a very bad double standard that the United States is taking. Furthermore, the Washington Post from April 3rd states that India has clearly said that they're going to use it for weapons. So what is the purpose of having this double standard when we don't allow one country to take it on to develop their nuclear program, and yet the other one, we take away their rights, as stated by the United Nations on that syllabus? Well, we can see that one of the solutions that we can take towards solving this problem is allowing Iran to develop their program. And there are several ways that they can do it. And we've seen nuclear programs being developed throughout the world, including even in China, where they've used it for energy purposes. As stated in Reuters, March 28th, Russia and China have supported the development in Iran. And one of the key reasons is because China itself and Russia developed nuclear program, have a nuclear program also for energy. And even in the New York Times, March 30th, stated that China had actually accepted nuclear material from Australia in order to develop its power and in order to develop their energy source. So they've actually made an international tie, and they've allowed China, and even Russia has decided to extend that arm and help Iran develop the program also. As stated in the New York Times from March 30th, Russia actually made a deal with Iran, stating that if they wanted to develop this program, they could get the materials from Russia as well. So we can see that there are methods for Iran to develop the program. And in fact, the United States should not hold that double standards against Iran, simply because they might not trade with us. They trade primarily with China and Russia. So we can see that when we're asked the question of what should the United States position on Iran be, it's very simple. That we've held the double standards against certain countries, and we've seen that lately with Iran. We've seen how if we allow certain countries such as India to develop the weapons themselves and not the power, and yet there are means for Iran to develop nuclear power through a system that's already set up through the IAEA, then we should allow them to develop this power, because there's nothing wrong with it. And in fact, if we were to allow Iran to develop this, it would show that the United States is more supportive towards these countries that are trying to make their way out, especially in the Middle East, where we've seen many conflicts lately. So Iran should be allowed to have nuclear power, and it would help their country develop greatly, and it would help our relationships with Iran.
answer the questions any way they believe is the correct answer. As a judge, I would not necessarily mark them down because I disagree with the position she took, but I would certainly question whether she could prove it or document it with her research. And I think she does a pretty good job at doing that. Let me also tell you that most of our speeches are done in classrooms with between 8 to 20 people. So even some of our people are a little bit nervous with the crowd of this size. Our next event is will be demonstrated by Armendariz. And Alex is the president of the forensics team, and he will be competing in an event called Impromptu speaking. Like extemporaneous speaking, impromptu is a spur-of-the-moment speech, where we're not going to give him a lot of time to prepare. The rules of impromptu speaking are this. He is giving 3 different topics. They're normally quotations. They could be one-word abstracts. They might be different cartoons that we can take a look at of a political nature. In fact, last tournament I was judging in the final round, we were using proverbs in the middle of some Chinese fortune cookies. And the students are given the 3 topics, and then we start a 7-minute clock. They are allowed to divide those 7 minutes up between preparation time and actual speech time. What we train them to do is to use no more than 1 to 2 minutes prep time, and then they try to deliver a 5 to 6 minute speech time. Again, I will give him the topics, and then we will see him prepare up here on stage, and then he can give his speech, and I will be timing it right down below. Just to make sure we're not cheating, I'd like to get topics suggested from the floor. So does anyone have a short statement or a quotation that you would like to have Alex work on? Anybody? Don't be shy.
Don't be nervous.
Should utility taxes go up? Okay, can I have a second topic?
There's no time like the present time.
There's no time like the present time. And one third topic. Should intelligent design be discussed in public schools? Well,
Bill, you have a...
Together, we can accomplish more.
okay, given him 4 different topics. Should intelligent design be in public schools? Carmen, what was yours?
There's no time like the present time.
There's no time like the present time?
Anyone go with that?
Okay, let's start the time. 1:30.
When it comes to today and we talk about technology, we clearly see that there is no time like the present time. For all these individuals out there, they should know when it comes to communication and be able to talk to each other on a day-to-day basis, because they have the ability to look at pictures and talk to each other. And that thing is called MySpace. So we see that technology and the way MySpace is growing is a today issue. And it's something that's going to grow and has sponsored a lot of individuals to come close together. So when we look at the quotation, where it said there is no day like tomorrow, or no day like today, and truly seeing the aspect of the future, we're going to look at this to 3 specific areas. First, we're going to look at the area of today's world and the issue going on with Israel and Palestine. Secondly, we're going to look at the issue of actual philosophy, and look at a philosopher who speaks of this to look at today and the benefits that we get from today. And lastly, we're going to take a look at this from a novel. Since we are in college, and we all need to be reading a little bit. First, let's begin with this issue of Israel and Palestine. Now, what constant see is that with these 2 countries, we've had deaths upon deaths upon deaths, and struggles between these 2 countries. They simply do not like each other very much. They stand each other on different avenues. But we see like there's no time like the present time. With the new government actually existing within Palestine, the Hamas government, we can see that something needs to be taken. That these groups need to learn to work with one another so they can prosper in life. That they can usually build a strong foundation of cooperation within 2 nations. 2 nations that were better rivals, but And nowadays, with better communication and the talks that are going on, better become allies. And better become a better world today, that we can no longer see these inevitable struggles that are going on between these two nations. And we see that there is truly no day like today. Because with today, this can be resolved, and the horrible death that's continued in this area will actually stop. But we can actually look and start looking at today and not the past. Another issue of looking today, well, we actually have to look at the past. We're going to have to look at Benedict Spinoza. Benedict Spinoza was a philosopher a long time ago, long before I was born, long before everyone in this place was born. But the issue that he was actually advocating for was the issue of finding true happiness. You don't find true happiness by getting material goals, by looking for passions, or just by self-indulgence and winning awards or actual money earnings. What you get is truly by looking past these things and seeing that you can be happy without them. That being truly happy with the individual you are, besides all those things. These are the things that make you happy, and Benedict Spinoza truly believed this, and the only way you can accomplish this is by looking at today. Looking at what you fear today, what you try to buy today, what are you so concerned about today. And realize that you should be realized it's so much more important for your life and for your future of actually looking at today and trying to be happy. Not what you can get tomorrow, not what award you can win tomorrow, not who's speaking in front of a bunch of people. So when we look at someone from speaking, the actual philosopher, we're going to hit the books again. And we're going to look at Bram Stoker's The Dragon. Now many people have read this book. One of my favorite books is have to do with vampires, and hey, they suck blood, they can't go out, and during the day, sounds a little like a lot of individuals I know. But this issue that was pronounced in this issue, that Dracula is this evil being that Jonathan Harker, the main character in this novel, is very much terrified of. And when he had the chance to kill him, he simply did it, which led to him eventually going to the Western European countries and actually killing many individuals. But we saw that this individual did not look towards the past and see that he was cowardly. He actually looked to the present day and what he could do. So after they developed a plan, after all the Western heroes developed something to do, he went and he actually struck down the evil dragon. He killed him, leading to prosperity of so much life, and leading to the eye-opening of so many individuals. It was because he looked towards today, and he wasn't looking towards the past or towards the fact that Dracula will eventually be gone in the future. He was actually looking at what he could do today to stop this. And he did, and is why in the novel he's considered one of the most important and influential heroes of our time. Even though it's a novel, not real. Okay, so what did we look at today, the issue of today, and the importance that we need to be speaking about? We first looked at Israel and Palestine, the constant death and struggles that are going on there, and we clearly need to stop this from going on. They need to look for today and stop this. Secondly, we looked at philosophy and how we all need to be better, happy individuals by looking at today and not looking towards material or gains of tomorrow. And lastly, we looked at the issue of Dracula, and we saw how looking to today for Jonathan Harker led to him becoming a hero, because he wasn't looking towards what he did in the past, he was looking at what he could do today. So when we look at today, we look at technology, we completely agree that, hey, MySpace is here, it's making money, people like it. So it's the future, and we need to advocate for future technology like this, because it's benefiting people, it's bringing more people together, and hey, it's making it a hell of a lot of dough.
Used 1 minute and 45 seconds prep, and he used 7 minutes and 2 seconds. So he probably would have been marked down 1 mark for going 2 seconds over time. So we'll work on that before he gets to Nationals next week. My next event is with a student that actually came out of my public speaking 130 class about 3 years ago. Irma Lopez came up to me. She owned her own company where she teaches driver's training, mainly to Hispanic-speaking people. And she says, I know how to speak real well in Spanish, but how do I learn to speak better in English? And I said, well, one of the best ways is to join the debate and speech team. We'll get you up speaking a lot more. Little did I know that Irma would go out with her speech, her informative, and start winning some trophies. She then tried a persuasive and won some trophies. And then she took a year off. This year she showed back up and said, I'd like to try speaking again, But don't make me do those informatives and persuasion. I like to try debate and extemp and impromptu. And she won trophies in all of them. Then finally she said, well, maybe I can go back into platform speeches. Let me try that speech called Speech to Entertain. This is a speech about a serious subject. It's well researched, it's written by Irma, and it's up to 10 minutes in length. The only difference is it's supposed to be delivered in a fascinating and perhaps funny manner. So it's not supposed to be a whole line of jokes, but it is a serious subject that she'll talk about, but hopefully she'll get a rise out of it. I think you'll all enjoy her topic. Here is Irma Lopez.
Do you want to become a millionaire? Yes, you. I'm talking to you. Well, let me tell you that you have several options. Number one, you can try to find a diamond in the rock. Number two, you can compete in the TV show Deal or No Deal. Number three, that's mine, and I'm not going to share it with you. Or maybe you think that playing the lottery is the way to get millions of dollars and the lifestyles of the rich and famous with champagne wishes and caviar dreams? If so, I'm not here to tell you not to play the lottery. What I'm trying to say is play all you want, just don't win. Repeat with me. Just don't win. No, you were supposed to say it at the end of my speech, but that tells me that after this you will say it to everybody. Today, we are going to play with some odds. First, we are going to evaluate the probabilities of winning. Second, we are going to identify the harms of winning. And third, we are going to find some methods to avoid winning. So let's start by identifying the combinatories needed to derive a lot of probabilities mentioned on the Magazine magazine of November 1996. Don't tell anyone, but I'm going to skip this part because I didn't understand anything. There were many numbers. I'm not a mathematician, but I got the result. Therefore, the probabilities are 1 in 14 million. However, I found some easier ways to understand it. Here they are. Do you remember that high school health class about the miracle of conception? It was me and about a billion of my friends all trying to win. And look, here I am, despite the odds. Or, as mentioned on the Gambling magazine of December 2005, freedom is just 6 numbers away. But consider that in the same way we are only 600 times more likely to be killed by lightning, we only have to buy 50,000 tickets a week for 30 years to guarantee victory. Do you feel lonely? Then play the lottery and join the Losers Club. Because if all together were to stand in line, that line would stretch most of the way around the world. So you will always have company. That's great. What about if you are bored? Then you can read aloud the name of the losing ticket holders for just one drawing. And it will take you about 3.5 years. Do it, and you won't be bored again. Just remember this outstanding fact. You have the same chances of winning the lottery whether you check the numbers or not. The odds never change. 1 in 14 million. But if you still have deep in your mind that crazy desire of gambling, pay attention to the wise advice of Bob Daddy or PDD. Doesn't matter. Mentioned in the album Life After Death, year 1997, that says, the more money we come across, the more problems we see. More money, more problems. For a lot of dreamers, winning the lottery is the American dream. But for most of the lottery winners, the reality is more like a nightmare. Because sudden money ruins any financial savvy. Here we have some fairy tales of greedy relatives, hitman, and vanishing dreams. According to the New York Times of December 5, 2005, once upon a time, Mark and Virginia Mecca from Kentucky hit the big lottery for $34 million in the year 2000, which meant escaping poverty at a high speed. They started spending money without regards, houses, helicopters, cars. But suddenly, the damnation of evil fell upon them. They were sued several times by relatives and friends who wanted the clinking, clanking sound of money, 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 money. Later, alcoholism paralyzed Mark before his death, and Virginia's partially decomposed body was found in her bed. Their dream lasted only 3 years. Also, as mentioned on Bankrate.com of December 2006, William Post from Pennsylvania won $16 million in 1988. Then his ex-girlfriend sued him for a sharing of the winnings. She takes my money when I'm there. That makes me. Even worse, his brother hired a hitman to kill him, trying to get some of the money. Within a year, Post was $1 million in debt, and now he lives in a small place and food stamp. And finally, Evelyn Adams from New Jersey won $5 million, not just once, but twice, in 1985-86. She won the American dream, but she lost it too. She thought the money would last forever, but now the money is all gone and she lives in a trailer. WTF? What the fritters? But because it's not fair and it's not right that you win a stunning as a lottery prize, like the one that Tessie Washington won in the story The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, let me offer you some strategies to avoid winning. First of all, as mentioned in a personal interview by Mr. Danny Cantrell, who by the way is my speech coach, you can give one of your tickets to a bad person. Let's say that you get a bad service in a restaurant. Give a ticket to the waitress. Thus, that person will get the damnation of winning the lottery with all the consequences that we already know. Second of all, give a ticket to a baby on his first birthday. Because, as mentioned on MSN Money of January 2nd, 2006, minors are not allowed to buy lottery tickets. If a minor is given a ticket and claims a jackpot, the money will be retained until the child reaches the age of 19. So, at that time, probably nobody remembers where the damn ticket is. And lastly, as Tyler just Jarvis mentioned in his 1997 book, Gambling, What Are the Odds? We know that gambling's philosophy of something for nothing undermines the framework of our society. And we have to remember that gambling something for nothing is a lie. Both the communities and gamblers that vainly hope to benefit from it will find instead that gambling is nothing of value and steals money and corrupts the morals of our society. We have an obligation not only about gambling ourselves, but also to teach others the truth about gambling and to use what we know to change attitudes, perceptions, and laws about gambling in our communities and nations. It has been said. Today, we have gambled with some elements of the lottery. First, we talk about the probabilities of winning, if there is any. Then, we talk about the consequences of winning. And finally, we learn some easy step-by-step methods to avoid winning. So, if you still want to become a millionaire, winning the lottery is not the solution. Therefore, as I requested before, repeat with me. Play all you want, just don't win. Just don't win. Good. By the way, I have a little paper right here. Guess what? It's a lottery ticket. I'm going to rip it in half at the corner tree. So 1, 2, 3. Now I play and I won't win.
Irma pulled that speech out at the last PSFA tournament, and she was the only one from our team to actually go to the final round, not of novice or junior division, but actually to senior division. She just recently came back with silver medals from the state tournament in impromptu speaking and the bronze medal in parliamentary debate. I would like to introduce Professor Cynthia Valeri. She is the Assistant Director of Forensics and has been here the last 6 years. And she is currently coaching our Readers Theater program in a lot of the oral interpretive events. And I'll let her introduce those events to you. By the way, it seems like our coaching staff has the same problem. Danny Cantrell's wife is pregnant, and we're happy to announce that Cynthia and her husband will be delivering their second child this summer sometime.
I have the pleasure to introduce the next forum that we do here at Cerritos College. There's all different arts of public speaking, and this forum, a lot of people don't know that we actually do here at Cerritos on the Forensic Speech Debate Team. It's an interpretive event, and this is the only one we're going to be performing tonight. We interpret literature, all different types of literature to basically inform you. And basically what's going to happen next is a Reader's Theater. It's a 25-minute production. We will not have props, but a lot of Reader's Theaters, put down a bit. There's a lot of Reader's Theaters that do have props, but this year's Reader's Theater we decided that we wanted to use the individuals in the theater to be the props. There's usually about 4 to 14 individual members that participate in theater. And this year we decided on 4 members because we need to travel those individuals to Kansas this year, which is next week. And so it's a lot easier for us to do that. As well as I just picked some great individuals that are participating this year. And so this art will be arguing a specific argument for you to hopefully be persuaded by. And it's done in the form of different genres. It's not just on published information, but it's also on unpublished information. So it's a kind of a variety of different genres to kind of get our point across to all of you in the form of theater. It is Reader's Theater, and the cast is, and I would like to introduce them individually because there's 4 members. The first, if you could stand, Rebecca Nunez. The second, Regina Elizalde. The third, Tish Harrington. and the name of the Reader's Theater is Conscious Collective. And I will invite them upstage to prepare. Thank you.
I respect die with a degree of dignity. Lay down your life with dignity. Don't lay down with tears and agony, because there's nothing to death. It's just crossing over into another plane. Don't be. Stop these hysterics. We must die with some dignity. We must die with some dignity. It's just something to give you choice. Oh, God.
Can I ask everyone to please look at the people sitting in your immediate areas?
You would all agree that we share one thing in common?
That one thing, being.
Forensics?
Apologies to those outside of the communities, and big apologies to those who are missing UCLA or beat the crap out of the other team right now. Listen.
But all in all, we do form a community.
Yes. We have jargon.
Well, at least the debaters do.
We have a dress code that's commonly mistaken for a funeral.
We form a social ladder.
We have a recruitment style.
And more often than not, we shift our priorities.
So that speech becomes closer and closer and closer to the top of the list.
Meanwhile, I have a lip paper due right after this one.
But all in all, we are
A community.
Now, will everyone please take out your cell phones, which should be off. Call your moms and dads and tell them
You're in a cult.
Okay, hi. Sorry to interrupt everything going on up here, but why is this cult word so important?
The rapid growth of cults has law enforcement agents worried, clergy, and even animal rights activists, because this problem grows daily.
a group, Santeria from Cuba in South Florida, has as many as 60,000 people that are involved in worship.
It's estimated by the Kansas City Star and the Los Angeles Times that as many as 50,000 people have either been lured in or killed by cults.
We discuss these facts not to scare you, but to warn you and your family about cults. The following program is not just literature.
It's real life.
Transcripts from
Jonestown.
Transcripts from
Helter Skelter.
Transcripts from
Children of God.
poetry by
Nikki Giovanni. Prose by Sarah John. Prose by Sherry Cooper. Lyrics by
Let's talk about sex.
Amy.
Salt and pepper.
Tim McGraw
And Eric Clapton. The session of the Church of the Poison Mind is now in session.
I joined the group when I was young, really young. Didn't you know that it would become such a huge part of my life? But now, I can't imagine my life without them. They're all I know.
They have my daughter. Oh, it was innocent enough in the beginning. She told me how much freedom she had to enjoy herself, but the leaders were always watching.
just to make sure we did things by the book. You have to learn to follow the rules, or else you'll make mistakes. Big mistakes, and no one wants that to happen. You have to get it right the first time. Because sometimes, you don't get a second chance.
I don't care what anybody says. I know deep down in my heart that they are cold.
I know some people think this is extreme, but it's just my life now.
Hi, would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies? Hi, would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies? Hi, would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies?
LHSG!
Let's go! Let's go! LHSU! Let's go! LHSU! Let's go! Let's go!
LHSG!
Let's go! Hi!
I'm Diego.
Vanessa.
Ginger.
Rachel, and we're recovering sexaholics. You're scared right now. We understand. We're here to help you. Now, I would like to ask the audience a few questions. If you feel comfortable in disclosing your information, please raise your hand. If you do not, then take a mental note of how you answered the following questions.
Do you ever think you need help for your sexual thinking or behaviors?
Do you have irresistible impulses when there are overturns or sex is offered?
Do you keep changing from one relationship or lover to the other?
Now, if you've answered yes,
You're a sexaholic.
Sorry.
if you've answered no,
Then you're a loser.
Now, I'm committed to helping each and every one of you with your problem. The first step is solvency. What?
I tend to keep talking, bro.
Hey guys! Look at the way his arms are.
Are you going to become some other things too big?
Come on, guys! This is not healthy!
Does anyone know living contract is a criminal offense in this state?
Stop it!
Come on, baby. You two go.
Oh, well, I hope you were all able to learn something constructive today. And that we were able to help you with your problem. This is what you're set for. Thank you for listening to us. And be safe.
Wear a condom.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex.
Let them not roar with it. Go out there.
And go out there, tell the truth. And you let not roar with it.
Because they hear us. They know we mean it. We'll kill them if they come.
If by any chance you would make a mistake and try to take in any one of us, we won't let you. You'll die. You would have to take on every one of us over all our dead bodies.
913 American citizens, 276 of which were minor children. American Congressman Neil Ryan and the United Press International Group. All of their lives in the paradise of pain forever, redeemed by his name, Joseph.
Love is our only weapon.
Shh. Darn it! Martin Luther King died with love! Kennedy died not even understanding what love really was. He thought it was some kind of generalized love, and he was shot down too! It was all boom!
My name is Joanne Nolan, and I'm a survivor of the Jonestown Massacre. I say I'm a survivor because on November 18, 1978, 27 members of my immediate family perished in their desolation of Paradise County.
Love is our only weapon in which I have to fight. I've got a hell of a to fight. I've got my claws, I've got compasses, I've got guns. I've got dynamite. I've got a hell of a to fight. You won't fight. Won't fight. Won't fight. Let them hear it in the night.
Sometimes, when the night is cold and silent, you can hear screams. They are the 2-decade-old screams of children dying on a starry night in Jonestown, Guyana. It is the white noise of cyanide-induced death that inhaled the breaths of innocent children and the lives of nearly 1,000 cultists, all led by a monster named
J. Jones.
I cannot choose what path to take.
I cannot choose what path to take.
I cannot choose what path to take.
No matter if the thorns away, the life they give me is not mine.
And they remind me all the time of every fear I ever felt, of every tomorrow I cannot dwell.
The faith I once held so strong, I lost it to the mountain sun.
Will there be your shadow face to look down on the side race? The eyes that once kept me alive, not close forever to survive. This will be my last goodbye.
My heart will know it's time to die. For us to avoid becoming so immersed in one social group, we must
Question our leadership.
Do not act like you. Educate yourself and remember who you are.
How much I've tried to give you the good life. And though no man may take my life from me, I've decided to lay my life down. Because if we can't live in peace, well then let's die in peace.
I'm not ready to die. And I think about my baby and I think he deserves to leave you.
I agree, but doesn't he deserve more? Doesn't he deserve peace?
We okay here for baby.
Have we had it?
No.
No. We haven't had no peace. I've practically died trying to give you peace every day, and you still say we have no peace?
I will know that. But I still have the right to say what I think, what I feel. And I think I have the right to my own destiny. And I have the right to choose mine. And everybody else has the right to choose theirs.
I'm not taking that away from you. But you were good this very day if you don't die. You were good this very day. Take the medication. It's simple. It's simple. There are no compulsions with it. It's just simple. You will be. Count you. Rest.
Illuminate your spirit.
Celebrate your life.
Dominate for your free psychic didn't have to worry about anything because my Medicaid is missing. Ooh, I love Medicaid. I see it in your future, child. You shall be the next Medicaid consultant.
I love Mary Kay because even though they said I was gay, I can still be part of Mary Kay.
Hello, and welcome to our 2006 National Mary Kay Convention. My name is Lydia Monroe, and I'm your CEO, and we're going to have so much fun this week. Are you all ready to learn? Are you all ready to grow? Are you all ready to tell people the items to people who don't really need it just to make some cash? Fabulous. The doomsday cults are the only cult mentalities categorized by society. Therefore, we return punishment upon them with judgment and ridicule.
Yes, because doomsday cults are so polarized, they attach a reputation into all modern and controversial. Therefore, in society to separate themselves from the third-party idea of cults altogether.
Charles Manson, he was the leader of a religious cult group, and even though he never killed anybody, he just asked all his servants to do it for him.
Searching for brotherhood, seeing man's humanity, inhumanity, insanity, and profanity. One turns towards utopia. Thinking one has found one's goal, the seeker immerses himself in idolism. Ignoring warning signs, blindly heading down the path of destruction, a sake of unity, of purpose, heart, and mind. And giving oneself up to selfishness, one gives a choice. Handing over responsibility, decision-making capability, and perception of reality.
These children that come at you with knives, they're your children. Yeah, they're your children. And you can project it back at me. But I'm only what lives inside each and every one of you. My father is your system. Shit, I'm just a reflection of you.
All rise, all rise. The court will now take into session the people versus Manson.
Did you see any member of the family refuse to do anything that Mr. Manson told him or her to do?
No, none of us did. We always want to do anything and everything for him.
Tell me about the events leading to the massacre at the Tate House. The night that Mr. Manson died.
Whoa! Time for helter skelter.
Were you still at the ranch family?
Yes. I remember I was standing at this one point when Charlie came to me and said,
I want you to grab him. I want you to grab a knife. Grab your driver's license and grab a change of clothes.
What is the next thing that happened?
Tex and I, we got in the car and we started off when Charlie, he called us to stop. We got out to the middle of the driveway and he came to the car, stuck his head in the window and said,
I want you girls to leave the sign. Leave a sign, you know what I mean, something with you.
Helter skelter, 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 helter skelter.
Charlie, I'm pregnant.
Oh, that's beautiful, baby. You gotta bring new life into this world.
I don't know who the father is.
And what about that one man, you and Shelley met with? Isn't he a piggy?
Yes, he's an athlete.
Well, then I want you to kill him.
Charlie, I'm not you. I cannot kill anybody.
You love him.
Of course I do,
Well,
Charlie.
then you better kill him.
I can't do that.
Do you want my salvation?
Of course, yes.
Then you will bow my command, you will do as I say, you will do my will, and you will get my salvation. Do you understand?
Yes.
Helter skelter, helter skelter, helter skelter, helter skelter, helter skelter, helter skelter, helter skelter.
And this is what happened the night after the massacre at the Tate House.
Yes.
Why did you leave the ranch?
I feared my life.
And why are you here today?
Because I know that it is the right choice to make. I am not a monster, and I am not evil. Charlie is. And he deserves whatever punishment comes his way. I am here before you all today, not only because it is right, but because I know it is just. And if at least I can shine light on those who are relationships may eventually end.
And our friends may move away.
And we may move from social group to social group to social group.
But a single consistency which we will always have will be found in ourselves. From the moment of birth to the moment of death, we will always be with ourselves.
Therefore, we must spend an equal amount of time, energy, and effort cultivating our own identity, totally separate from others.
As we examine our collective identity within our human race.
Hey baby, I have something for you.
Yeah. What?
She's got some love.
Love up, what's that?
David Burke, the co-founder of the Children of God, he believed that the Bible gave justification for one to have sexual relations with one's kids. However, to this day, the media still attacks them, but they just change their name and claim to be reformed. Come with us and find out.
Who are you?
No. Who are you?
Kevin.
We're Mary, Sherry, and Carrie. We're part of the family.
What family?
Most family. Haven't you heard of him? David Burke. To us, he's father.
What do you do?
We love up. We love up all the time with anyone and everyone who wants to join.
That sounds well. That we go on gently and truly. Don't you want to love Kevin? Doesn't that sound nice?
Well, I don't have a family.
Come, be part of ours. Come, Kevin. Come and love us.
'Cause it's all in my head, and I think about it over and over again. Can't stop picturing you with it, and it hurts so bad, 'cause it's all in my head. Baby, I'm love, baby, I'm love.
Having sex, it's pure to us. There is nothing wrong with it. So we let our kids be on it. We even play with them because it is nice. It is the right thing to do and they enjoy it.
Hi everyone, my name is Ricky. Well, I'm just setting this up because I just have something to say and I hope you don't mind, but I want to be a little bit nice, that's why I do it. I hope you don't mind why I talk.
If the law of love is right, then it goes clear across the board. No matter what age it is.
You know what really inspired me was the fact that Sarah, indirectly of course, she used to scream when she was 6 years old when they were raped. Those animals.
And of course you will obey upon the rules. It is something to say. You know it's the right thing to do. You're not very much of doing anything. It's all within you and the Lord. You know it's the right thing to do. So you do it.
When she was 6 years old.
What we can't explain to them, which you will all never understand, is that it is a way of being. It is like eating, like drinking, sleeping, or reading the Word. There is nothing wrong with it. It is so pure to me. I want you to know that I'm grateful and that I love you from the bottom of my heart. And that I don't understand why they're saying this about you.
I mean, where's our apology, huh? Where's our apology? They didn't even say sorry. Can you imagine? We got raped. They didn't even say sorry. I mean, it goes on in Indonesia. People are getting kidnapped all the time. And they're cutting them up. They're cutting them up. And we were cut up. Man, our brains were sure screwed up. They didn't even told us sorry. They didn't even told us sorry. All we got is mental mistake of who we really are. I just hope that these guys get caught and they get what's coming to them. All those bastards. But with that happy thought, I'll leave you now.
Can't get it out of my head, 'cause it
theater cast has been meeting at 6 o'clock on a lot of mornings and putting in hours, and it just keeps getting better and better. They're going to shine next week when we go to Kansas City. I think they're going to do very well. What we'd like to do right now is have you guys stand up, stretch for about 5 minutes. We're going to move the lectern into the middle and set up the tables for the debate. So go ahead and take a little break. We'll call you back in.
My name is Cantrell, and I've been the debate coach here at Cerritos College for the past 3 years. It's been a great experience, and I really enjoyed working with these excellent debaters. What we're going to demonstrate for you now is the second part of speech and debate, the debate. What we compete in is called parliamentary debate, and it's really an exciting and very great event. The way it works is that the teams generally don't know the resolutions until 15 minutes before the debate rounds begin. So generally, the tournament director announces the resolution. The debaters, just like Impromptu and Extemp, then have 15 minutes to prepare for the debate. Generally, we're able to predict what some of the resolutions are, but for the most part, they're coming up with the arguments on the spot. And I think that makes the event really dynamic and really teaches students to have a wide variety of information and knowledge, and really encourages critical thinking and on-the-development argumentation. Tonight we're going to use a slightly modified format of parliamentary debate to better demonstrate to you what we do. What we're going to do is have 5-minute constructives, and then we're going to follow that up with a 1-minute cross-examination period, something you might be more familiar with. Normally in parliamentary debate, we open each speech up to points of information, so the opposite team can interrupt the speaker. But in this event, we're just going to let the speeches go and then follow up by questions. Following the 4 constructive speeches of 5 minutes each, we're going to have 2 rebuttals by each team of 4 minutes long. So that will be the format for tonight's debate. Let me please introduce the coach from the Chinese International Debate Team, David Liu, who will introduce the government team, or the team that's going to be proposing tonight on the resolution, Resolve the Equality Between the Sexes is Not Possible. Please welcome David Liu from China, the coach.
To introduce the Chinese squad. First, I'd like to introduce the other debate coach from China, whose name is Chen. For those of you who cannot pronounce her name, she also has her English name, Jane, Professor Jane Chen. She is also the Dean for English Department of Xi'an University, which is a top 10 university in China. And she is very keen supporter of debate in China. Now, I would like to introduce the debaters from China. The first one is Wang. For those of you who cannot pronounce her Chinese name, she also has an English name, Susan Wang. She is currently a third-year student at Xi'an International Studies University, which we too represent. It is one of 8 of this kind in China. We have 8 international studies universities. She just started debate 9 months ago, so this is her first trip to the United States. She's very excited about it. Now I would like to introduce the second debater from the Chinese squad. Her name is Wang Chen. Yeah. Jasmine Wang. She is currently a four-year student at Xi'an University, majoring in English. She has been a keen debater since second year of the university. So she has been debating on and off for over 3 years. She has participated in a lot of debate tournaments in China and here in the United States. Last week, she and her partner Susan went to the National Parliamentary Debate Tournament, and she was among the best international participants there. And okay, that's pretty much it. About debater. Lastly, I would like to extend my thanks to Professor Bill Sparks for your support, for your hospitality. Made our last stop of our trip.
Thank you, David. I know it's a real honor for our team to be debating a team from China. And let me introduce our 2 debaters from Cerritos College. First, we have Joe Rubio. Joe is a second-year debater on our team and has won many awards in debate, Extemp, Impromptu, all the events he competes in. It's been a real pleasure to coach him these past 2 years. Our second debater is Riley So without further ado, I will be acting as the Speaker of the House for tonight's debate round. I'll be sitting in front and providing time signals. As a reminder, finally, we'll have 5-minute constructives, one by each team. It will be the government team in support of the resolution that the equality between the sexes is not possible, followed by speeches by the opposition team who's against it, and followed by the 2 rebuttals. So without further ado, I call this House to order and recognize the first speaker for the government team from the team of Chen. Chen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to thank you, everybody being here tonight. And I was really involved in your performance just now. It's really fantastic. As a Chinese student, I never saw those theater and dramatized performance. I'm really involved, and I was really thinking about if one day I can join your club. Before that, I'd like to give our debaters a 2 presents from China. One is the Chinese water can, and I leave my emails and my words on that. If you don't agree with Wang in this debate, we can debate through the internet. Wait a minute, there's another. Guess what is it? Yeah, I thought you would go that this is a knife. Yes, this is letter opener, and actually, if you don't agree with Wang to speak against that. Well, I think it's very hot here, not only because of the weather here, but also because of all of your hospitality. It's really my great honor to be participating in the United States debate with you in English. And I really hope some of you can come to China someday, debate with us in Chinese. Cerritos College is the last stop in the whole trip of the United States. Tonight is the last debate day we have to get through. It must mean something, because in Chinese culture, the last is the most important. My super boss, who is Professor Garrett Rival, who made this whole trip possible, asked me to perform as best as I can, because he graduated from this university, this college. However, I want to tell you a secret, he is not here. Alright, let's come back to the debate. He cannot be that funny. Tonight, we will resolve that equality between the sexes can never be achieved, or is not possible. Men and women are the most complicated species in the world. It's different since they were created. Even the mother of human were a part of men. No wonder people say marriage is the war fought against the family those live with. Now I'd like to come to the definition first. Equality means all people are treated the same, all outcome is the same. Sexes means female human beings and male human beings. Is not possible means can never be achieved in the future. And the criteria is based on the definitions. I'd like to come to the contentions. Contention number 1, according to the evolutionary theory, survival of the fittest, which works both in animal world and social lives, determines that the equality between the sexes can never be achieved. Subpoint A, all species, according to the rule, are trying to gain as many resources as possible to survive. Therefore, the stronger exploit the weaker. And subpoint B, fundamental differences between man and woman cannot be denied. Man is born stronger and bigger, so they are more suitable for physically demanding jobs. And here I want to thank Debbie for taking care of my water throughout the trouble. And third is that women have more tissues between the 2 brains. So I think ladies do agree that women are smarter than men. However, on the whole, women are weaker than women. And I'd like to come to contention number 2. Since I would prove that on the whole, women are weaker than women men. So we need special protection for women. However, those protection can never lead to equal because there's no protection for women. For men, there's not fair. And the third condition, as I was to distinguish, fairness and equality. They are not the same thing. Equality is treat people all the same, all common same. Fairness is treat people as they ought to be treated, or means free from injustice, dishonesty, or self-interest. So even though women granted equal rights or equal chance in papers, in constitutions, in act, which is fair, they don't receive or demand it in a real sense. Therefore, the ultimate results are not equal. I have a lot of examples to prove that. In his own word, 4 women's testimony equals 1 man's testimony. And in Jewish prayer, the first prayer is that, thanks God, I'm not a woman. And there's also condition number 4. Women are not allowed to get in leaderships. The history of the world has been male-dominated. There are only few exceptions women are allowed to get in a leadership position. I can name it, such as Margaret Thatcher in Britain and Miss Johnson in West Africa. And in the United States, there's only one woman has run for vice president. She's Cheryl Day Ferraro in 1984. Unfortunately, she lost to Ronald Reagan in a landslide election. And according to the statistics, in the United States, there's only 4% of CEOs are women. Why does it happen? Only because there is a glass ceiling. I think everybody familiar with glass ceiling, but I want to explain more. Glass ceiling means the limits prevent successful women to get the powerful or most influential position in any organizations. Subpoint E is that men domination society leads to many problems. In the United States, when men and women get divorced, men often end up with a higher standard of living, while women often goes to property. And men are more easily resolved to violence, to get things down, from domestic violence to arms, to war, and I think I totally proved that equality between sexes is not possible in terms of biology and sociology, from individual examples to general theories. So we firmly believe that equality between sexes can never be achieved. Thank you.
Step close to the mic.
Okay. So in judging this round through the invited criteria, what are we gauging here? Is it preponderance of evidence sort of shows through the most analysis to win the round, or is it basically proving to like the most resolution?
On the government side, our rule is to prove the resolution.
Okay. So going back to the idea of strengths and weaknesses, in society, how we play out our different gender roles, are they more mandated like through our psychological biases, or like how the government is treating one another?
Thank you so much for bringing up this is a real good question. I think it is not stress of emotions. The key words of the emotion is acceptance.
Okay. So sexes, and that accounts for like transsexuals, or like stuff like that. People like that.
Transsexual.
Yeah. Oh, let's just move on. Let's just move on.
Hello everyone, can you hear me? Yes? Alright, good. Well, first off, thank you to China's international team for making their way over here. I hope you've had an enjoyable experience, and hopefully one day you can come back, and we'll see if I'll be able to come over one day and debate in Chinese. I don't know. We'll probably have to use subtitles or something. But thank you to the whole forensics team here at Cerritos College for making this possible, and thank you to all you guys for coming out here and participating in this event. Furthermore, we will not be explaining what a transsexual is in this debate. begin with the opposition side. The first point here is observation number 1. What is our ground? Our ground is to prove that equality between the sexes is actually possible sometime in the future. Such as that we've shown in America that racial equality has been able to come to some equality here in the United States. We've seen that through the civil rights era. Now, observation number 2 is that equality is not necessarily a biological measure, as the other team would like you to think, such as the survival of the fittest. I think that it has to go more into what the one dictionary that we studied, American Heritage, says the equality of gender is the same as based on equal benefits, or what one's own beneficial gain is, not what your anatomically physical capabilities of equality are. So I think we should be debating more along those lines. The common values of what gender equality is that the way that an individual is viewed, such as in their status, or how much the status quo that they have earned in their life, such as through capital. Now let's move on here. Contention number 1, historically. The 8th point here is that through women's suffrage, we've seen here that women have historically gained the right to vote in many of our nations in the world. So we're seeing here that equality is definitely possible since we've given the right to vote for many women, not only in the United States, but in the rest of the world. The B point here is during World War II, women broke out into the workforce. We've seen that a lot of the men were actually drafted and that the women were actually forced to start working. They had to be the sole breadwinners. Now they started bringing home the bread, and when the men came back, they had a little bit of sitting back on the back burner. And we've seen here that this actually was a big change in American society of how women could actually gain equality in the United States. We've seen this in many other countries during World War II as well. Now let's move on to contention number 2, the current nations. The 8th point here is that Nepal, a country in Asia, has actually been working with the United Nations, and they've actually set up a 2-phase program that started in 1998, and the second phase was in 2002. What actually happened here is that this program actually monitored the way violence happened in the country, so that they put in stricter enforcement of punishments on those individuals who committed crimes against women or gender-based crimes. And we're seeing here that equality to protect women from these types of crimes actually increased in this country, and was very effective. It also worked toward prevention steps, how to prevent violence in the country, and it was very successful as well. And that 76% of the women's workforce during this time of the United Nations working actually moved to urban areas where they're getting better jobs. So we see here that equality definitely is possible, especially in a nation that's so rural as most of Nepal is. Now secondly, Turkey. Basically, they want to get into the European Union right now, but in order to do so, they have to clean up their human rights issues, which they have done, and very soon, they're going to be entering into the European Union. I'd also tell you that what they're also doing is that they've decriminalized adultery. So basically, it's no longer a crime to commit on to cheat on your husband or wife. And we're showing here that they have fair treatment of individuals now in this country. And I think that that shows you that gender equality definitely is possible. But even furthermore, here's my strongest point that I have to advocate to you tonight, is that what actually is going on is that there's a theory that shows that even though the world may not want to have gender equality, they have to if that's what's best for their own country. As Mary Robinson, president of Globalization for the United Nations, has a theory that nations will stop gender-based violence for economic reasons. The point here is the B point. Countries like Nicaragua and Chile actually reduced their gender-based violence and saved a lot of money. They reduced their GDP spending from 6% annually to actually 1 to 2%. So they're saving money by protecting their women in their country, so they don't have all these crimes being committed. And I think that proves that it will be possible because they're going to want to save money in order by stopping gender-based violence. So that definitely shows you that it is possible sometime in the future. Now let's go back onto their on case and start repeating some of their points. The first point they talked to you about is the evolution and the survival of the fittest. First off, my first response here is that typically women in the world live longer than men, right? Like you have a longer life expectancy, so I don't think that that analogy no longer applies. I think that through medical techniques and the standard of living, that women actually outlive men now. So I'd say that this shows that this is not the only way we can view things. I would also tell you that this is incorrect. Like, we can't say that men and women are going to have a complete equality. Like, I mean, men are typically going to be taller. Men are probably going to win in an arm wrestling contest against Riley. She'll probably win at giving childbirth or something. I just can't do that. We can't lay on this basis. It's not good debate. Let's go on here about fairness. They say that, well, the way that we should be treated. I think that we have shown here that men and women can be treated, and that we've shown you through economic reasons throughout the world. Now, when they talk about this, let's go on to one idea where they talk about leadership. When you say, like, only Margaret Thatcher and the Vice President of the United States were able to gain power, I would say, look at Oprah Winfrey. She's one of the richest women in the world, and she did this all by herself. I tell you that women definitely can move up in the world, and for all those reasons, you definitely have to side with Cerritos tonight. A little bit different style of debate on these two.
My first question would be, so you were talking about the possibility in the future of divide.
Yes.
All right, my second question would be, so you agree with us on the definition of equality, that means the outcome should be the same and they should be treated the same way?
I think that it's not only such as through physical means, I think that through the way we view them and their status as an individual, not only on the biological.
So that means we're challenging our definition or not?
I think so, that we're not going to have it only on your anatomical or biological level.
But that means according to our definition, that means equal benefit, right?
Yeah.
All right, so according to our definition, we're mainly talking about the gender but not sex, right? You're talking about gender equality, right?
Yeah, we agree.
All right, but look at the resolution. It calls for sexist equality between sexes.
Yes.
But you are mainly talking about gender, so you're totally steering our ground, right?
No, we're not totally steering your ground. I would say that it's not only through biological reasons. I think that you have to view it through a psychological level, or what an individual is actually capable of doing, not only through what their physical capabilities are.
Thank you. Don't tie me yet. Thank you for inviting us here, and it's a great pleasure for us to be here. It's actually the first time I see so many students using English as their second language. It actually makes me more comfortable with only debating with those who are native speakers, like speaking for like 20 years of English with us, like only speak like 4 years of English. All right, back to the resolution. It's game over for the opposition side. I argue that today the resolution should go for their side, because ultimately, in my point of information, and of course I mentioned, I asked for the leader of the opposition, and he agreed with me that they were mainly talking about the gender equality. But look at the resolution today. We're talking about the equality between sexes. It's not possible. We're not talking about the gender equality. And I would like to first give you my observation. Number one is about sex and gender. I'll distinguish those two different definitions. When we're talking about sex, we're talking about male or female. When we're talking about gender, we're talking about masculine and feminine. That's why they're different. That's why they're totally different definitions. So when we're talking about feminism, we're not talking about femalism. That's why we don't have that word called femalism. Because gender actually relates to the biological, relates to the social aspect of human being. Well, today we should mainly focus on the sex, which is calls for the biological difference, which is the nature of human being. So they're totally messing with the resolution and trying to steer our ground. But unluckily, I find it out. So you totally feel from the very beginning we were talking about the first word ever. Observation number 2. They're talking about in the future. I'm telling you, this is their observation number 5. This is the observation number 1. It's also my observation number 2. I'm telling you, if we were talking about possibility and an opportunity in the future, there are 5 burdens of proof that the opposition side have to prove me. First, you're going to prove to me, there are actually 6. First, you're going to prove me, you're going to apply the same opportunity, and we want to set the same opportunity. So, the outcome should be the same. Then they will get equal benefits according to your definition. If they won't accept the same, if the outcome is not the same, if the benefit is not the same, you'll fail on this point. And second, you're going to agree with the definition of equality. Or today's debate won't be the equal debate. We don't have to debate here, and you fail on this point. And third, you're going to prove that you can organize effectively to plan to change things to create equality, but you didn't give me any plan to change the things. And third, and fourth, you're gonna prove me this change is possible. And also, for the 5th point, it's not only possible, it should be probable. And the last point is also the most important. It's probable, possible, and it should be sustainable, which is very important. You cannot go out with a girl and saying, right, only for once, oh, right, this girl should be my wife only because I go out with her only once. This plan should be sustainable. And saying that the equality between sexes is sustainable, that's what means the possible. Alright, you didn't give me any of this 6th burden of proof, so you failed on this point. On your observation number 1. Alright, talking about back to the reputation contention. You're talking about the history, you're talking about the correlations. Well, on your
year of 1998, there were two basic programs. I'm telling you, these are against requirement and abusement to women. And what my partner told you about contention number 4, about contention number 2 in her contention, was talking about protection for women. Thank you for your resolution, and thank you for act of that against requirement and abusement to women. And let me tell you why we have this. First, because this act totally shows that women are less and lower than men, which is totally not equal. And second, when we have protection for women, that means the society recognizes women at a weaker point. And the society don't ever give the equal power to the men, because we don't ever have any protection for men. So that's the inequality part of the society, is we don't treat men in an act. We never set an act for the protection of women, which is totally not fair, which is totally not equal. Well, and basically, your third contention, we're talking about gender equality. I've already explained to you what we're talking about today should be focusing on sex rather than gender. So it's game over for the opposite of standing up saying, all right, we're today talking about the gender resolution rather than with sex. Well, about the political leader, the last point you're talking about. As a reputation for my partner's contention, I'm telling you for the political leaders, I agree with you that there are some individual cases about the women who are leaders in political field. I'm telling you, there are two individual cases. You can never be asked with so many individual cases with the general ideas, because you are trying to limit our work, which is simply not fair in the debate grounds. So I'm telling you, with those political leaders, even though there are some, and you couldn't argue against us with only several individual cases. And importantly, they only give us one case. Well, and the second point to the rebuttal of the political leaders, I'm telling you that all of the women that you're trying to give me individual cases, they adopt society, they adopt what most culture consider to be a masculine way of speaking and acting, in order to be more successful in the political field. When I'm talking about masculine way, that means the society recognizes them not as a female yet, because female and male and is under the definition of sex, and the masculine and the feminine enter the definition of gender. So all the political leaders' points failed on your side. So based on all the points, vote for the government. Thank you.
I have a question about, in the resolution, the resolution reads, equality between sexes is not possible. But you said we have to define not only possible, but probable. Tell me, how is that fair in the ground when the resolution says possible, not probable?
All right, I'm not telling you that it's going to prove it's a problem. I'm telling you, if you want to make sure that it will happen in the future, the 6 point will be sustainable. Because you're not telling me, all right, there is a woman who can give birth to a baby, who can be pregnant for 9 years, and you're telling me every woman can be pregnant for 9 years. It's not possible. It's just only one case.
Okay. Well, looking at this also, you said that we have to prove it within the social aspect. I think we did that, and then you went more so with the biological aspect, right?
Yes, I'm telling you, sex actually more into the definition of biological, and the gender more into the definition of social.
Okay. When you talk about the protection of women, that there's so many protections for women, but there's none for men. You said you were going to give us a whole list of examples. Could you please give me a couple of these examples?
Okay. We have the laws in China for the protection of women and child, but we never have any protection law for men. And then we have a whole bunch of different laws in Japan to protect women, but no laws for men.
Okay. Thank you.
examples on another one, we're going to show whether or not it can or cannot happen. We're going to have to look further into this topic
Male and female characteristics are basically the same. We're talking about male and females in the biological sense, but they're in the social sphere. And on that aspect, you have to look at the society overall and see how they're encompassing and how they're being treated equally. If they're being treated equally in the society, then they're getting equal treatment. So let's go ahead and go to our first contention. We tell you historical examples. First off, women's suffrage in the 19th century, the 1900s, and secondly during World War II. They haven't got responded to, which means that basically we're showing you here that we have had this push to have equality within the United States so far. We're showing you that not only is our society pushing to have this gender equality, but it's affecting other nations as well. Our second contention is showing you exactly where these other nations are getting this push to have this gender equality. We give you two specifically. Nepal, who has organized these different, the UN conditions to go ahead and have equality between the sexes. The only response that we got here is that the protection laws were for the women, and that's biologically against them because they're showing that they're the weaker sex. Whether or not they need the protection because they are weak or not is based on how their roles in society are being played out. When we look at the societal role, seeing that the women are pushed down basically in that society, they need these protections to have the equal rights or the equal abilities as men have. We're not talking about using these as a leverage tool against the men, but basically we're putting them all on the equal playing field. But secondly, when we talk about these protections, we're showing you exactly how this push from the United States and from the United Nations, the international community, has pushed for gender equality to be a very important issue. But secondly, we give the example of Turkey. We tell you that the European Union, like the basin like Europe, is telling Turkey not only to live its human rights act, like basically with like war crime criminals and stuff like that, but based on the society itself. We can go ahead and see that they're having this push towards creating an equality or like an equal playing field for all of the people, male and female there. That's where we're getting this push. But thirdly, I'd say that when Joe gives you the analysis here, we're talking about Nicaragua and Chile and how we have this economic push to go ahead and have this happen. That's where we're going to go ahead and see this is going to happen. When we tell you that it's economically beneficial for these people to have equality between the sexes, we're showing you that places, specifically Nicaragua and Chile, are doing this, and they're going to continue to do this. That way they can make sure that they have a sustainable future for themselves. I think that when they don't prove this point, we've shown that not only are males and females equal, or getting to be equal in the American point of view, getting to be equal in the international point level, and secondly in the developing world as well. Let's go to their views. Their first point, they're talking about biological differences. And first off, the male and female, the males are stronger, the women are smarter. Sorry, Joe. We're talking here about biological differences, but they're playing out in the societal sphere. That's what we have to look to the societal examples that we give you. Their second point is that we're not treated the same. This basically goes back to the protections argument, right? Like when we're talking about how we have laws, protecting the rights of women here, we're showing you that they're not, pushed down because they can't protect themselves, but we're making them even in society. We're not punishing them for, being weaker than men. We're making sure that they have the equal ability to be treated as equals in the society. So let's look at their next contention. It talks about we're not allowed in the leaderships. Joe gives you the example of Oprah. Like even Condoleezza Rice, we're seeing women break through this glass ceiling. It's not there anymore. They say that we have to go ahead and take on these male characteristics, and that I'm not going to be seen as a woman anymore. But I say that this isn't happening. When we go ahead and see this through the sexes, biologically, male or female, by the definition that falls. But secondly, I'd say that pushing through the glass ceiling is something that's inherently happening. We give you three examples: the U.S., the international community, and the developing world. That's always going to disprove. That's always going to give more weight than their contention. But on the last one, they tell you that in divorces, men get the higher quality of living. We're looking at the distinctions here, like what's being more valued. We get is there the money being more valued, or is the raising of the kids being more valued? We have to see that there are different mechanisms here, but we're talking about the equality between the sexes, equality in the same sphere. Are we talking about men getting equal rights, visitation rights and stuff like that, or getting the protections of the children? It's going to be societally as a whole more better for the people to have this gender equality, which we're seeing in the international community, the domestic community here in the United States. Well, I'd say, look at in prisons. I'd say that societally we have to adapt to where these protection laws occur.
So that actually means society don't treat men and women equally.
No,
so don't give them the same law.
I'd say that it's not applying the law; it's applying the effects of the law, what the effect is trying to go ahead and accomplish.
And that means society thinks the women are weaker.
I wouldn't say that, I think, oh, you're weak, and you're really strong. But on a societal level, the opportunities they can have, they can achieve, job-wise, societal-wise, that we have to put them on an equal playing field.
say that I answered it through breaking through the glass ceiling, giving the example of Condoleezza Rice, and how we still view her as the American figurehead who is a woman out in the Middle East.
Debates. We'll now finish with 2 rebuttals, and we're going to switch sides. So the opposition will give the first rebuttal, and then the government team will finish up the debate. So for the first rebuttal, Joe.
All right, well, thank you to the government team for setting up a well-constructed case for us to debate tonight. Let's get right into this and show you why Cerritos was going to win tonight. We look to the resolution. The equality between sexes is not possible, and we're definitely going to show you right now how this is possible, but not only possible, also probable. So let's get right into this. They said that, well, we have to show through social aspects. Well, I think we've done that. I think that we show you that through equal benefits, such as having these laws that give equal opportunities for women to have the same opportunity as a man. That's why these laws are in place. It's what the laws are trying to accomplish. That's what Riley just came up here and told you. It doesn't matter that the law actually exists. It's what the law actually does. It allows for gender equality. So that's why it's always going to be possible. Because of laws like this, it shows that gender equality is actually possible. So, when we even furthermore move on to this, they talk about in their own rhetoric about social aspect. It is in the social aspect. It's not only in the what type of gender qualities you have. So we don't need universal traits, right? Like I don't have to have male and female traits to be completely equal. I don't think any of us do. I think through our own aspects of the way we're treating society, we can have equal rights. We show you this through the international community. I think that in the United States, we've seen here improve drastically over the last century. Furthermore, we went over to a couple of specific examples. We talked about current nations right now, like in Nepal, with the United Nations actually working with them, having a 2-phase program where they're setting up equal rights throughout the whole country as a whole. They're preventing gender-based violence in this country. They talk about domestic violence as one of the things proving gender equality doesn't exist. We show you in Nepal that they're actually working towards getting rid of that type of violence so that we have gender-based equality in that country. In such a rural country that 20 years ago didn't have women working in their urban areas, such as in businesses, then now they do. 76% of the female workforce actually works in urban areas. We show you how gender-based equality definitely is improving in the whole world. When they don't even talk about this, I think that it completely stands through this debate, doesn't it? When we look even furthermore to Turkey, where they're actually cleaning up their human rights issues so that they can join the European Union, we show you once again how gender-based equality is improving in the world. We show you how it is possible. That's what we're trying to prove here. Even furthermore, this is where we actually get the nail on the head, where we actually tell you about that it's not only for moral reasons that a country would actually work towards gender-based equality, but for economic reasons. So even if they don't want to do it, they have to do it. Such as countries like Nicaragua and Chile, they completely dropped this as well. We told you that these countries are actually working towards having better gender-based equality programs in their country so that it saves them money. They saved about 4% of their GDP annually by improving their gender-based equality program. That shows you how it is possible. It's going on right now, empirically, as we're living, they're actually improving gender-based equality in these countries. They completely not even talk about this. I think that you're going to have to definitely side with the Cerritos team tonight here, just because of those reasons alone. They want to try and scale it down to the biological reasons, survival of the fittest. I think I gave you a very good example in traditional way we look at men and women today. When you look to how long a man and a woman actually lives in society, we see many times that women outlive men. It doesn't always have to be survival of the fittest. Maybe women are starting to jump up on the scale a little bit more now. I think that we proved this to you through the way we actually have sports now today. We see it actually improving for men and women as a whole. So I think that when you look at this debate round today, and you see here that is gender equality actually possible sometime in the future, it doesn't have to be tomorrow, it doesn't have to be next year, but one day it definitely is possible. And we show you how that definitely can exist today. They've given you specific examples. Well, they say that there's not enough protection rights for men and women, and they said that there's a whole list of them, but they haven't given us that whole list of them. Where does that actually exist? I tell you that you have to always question them on that aspect. When you look into this debate round today, I think you're definitely going to survive for the opposition team today.
I'll use the 4 minutes to talk about social respect. Yes, as a government and as a woman, we never deny that we shouldn't respect women. Actually, we should grant them equal rights, equal chance, whatever, in papers, in Constitution, in Act, in UN programs, in United Nations. However, this is true, but in real sense, how many women really gave this equal chance and equal opportunity? And according to some culture, which is deeply rooted in people's mind, women are born inferior to men. So even though they grant us equal chance, they intentionally or unintentionally refuse to get the chance. This will never lead to equal rights ultimately. And second, they talk about social aspect. Actually, we have to emphasize that this topic, this motion, is about sex. Social aspects actually didn't play an important role in this debate. And third is that we talk about not only we should talk about in social aspect, but in economic aspect, we have to do that. They only give you a little example about that, which is a small country, I think is not even bigger than the province of China. And it's not progress enough. We should give more examples and then get some theory to prove that equality between sexes is possible and sustainable and can lead to ultimate equal. Now I would like to give my whole issue. Issue number one, sex is different from gender, so I think all those things I just secretly still overran, which give the debate limited ground. And issue number two, political leaders, yes, we admit that more and more women are getting to the leadership roles in positions in organizations. However, how many women are there compared to the men? I have an example that there's Indian Wang who can stay in the civilian environment full day or 1 year without eating anything. This is possible. However, how many people can do that? And issue number three, the possibility in the future. If they, yes, about the cultural problems, yes. In Asian China, in Asian China, and in Indians, some women are forced or deeply rooted in mind that they force them to stay back in stage and they don't want to stay in front of the conferences or whatever. They don't want to play those roles, which is equality to men. All in all, we firmly believe that the equality between sexes can never be achieved. Thank you. Please vote for the government.
All right, well, you asked them here for your votes, so we'd like to take a quick informal vote. So if you would like to, in this debate round, vote for the team from China and the proposition, if you could please clap. All right, if you would like to vote for the opposition team from Cerritos, please clap. Vote to the team from China.
To prove that Chinese invaders aren't the only ones that come bearing gifts, the Cerritos team would like to also benefit them with some lovely t-shirts that rebel for their best day as they also and put it on this trip, which is Cerritos. So I'd like to benefit them with these cool, awesome, old school Cerritos college sweatshirts. Yeah, the coach is getting to.
good luck. So this means that we want to bring good luck to you all. Thank you very much.